is
if I
really
can have
cool.
your attention for a second here. There's a lot of Marines here, and some of our corpsmen from 3-9, and certainly they know the background, they know the circumstance because they lived that circumstance. But as we get ready to make the presentations, just kind of a lead-up, if you will, for those of you who don't understand what brought us to this unfortunate circumstance with this bright, convivial individual here who can't be kept down this morning. At the time that we were involved in conflict, the 3rd Battalion, 9th Marines was what you would term a breaching battalion. Our responsibilities were to go forward into Kuwait, to lead our regimental combat team, and to provide the breach through 2 minefields. And as we went forward on G-Day, we started moving out about 2 o'clock in the morning, and by the time we got to our second breach, it was about 1600 in the afternoon, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And we negotiated that successfully. We had some conflict in the minefield itself, lost a vehicle. We're waging some combat beyond the minefield after we had successfully breached it. And at that point, our infantry companies disembarked to clear the area. On our right flank was where Lima Company disembarked with Richard at that point. They disembarked to clear trench lines that were enemy occupied, and also at that time to take charge of enemy POWs who were right there in that vicinity. It was about that time that I took a look up. I was working on the left flank and saw members of Lima Company on the right flank doing their business, and they had come under mortar and artillery fire. And it was in that engagement that that incoming took out those Marines who were gathering POWs and clearing trenches, and put down 10 Marines. All of those Marines at this point are back with us, and that was a significant positive factor for us. Richard is one of 2 of the most seriously injured Marines, and we're glad to see a smiling face here this morning. Attention orders. United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded the Purple Heart, established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York, August 7th, 1782. To Lance Corporal Richard J. Musicant, United States Marine Corps, for wounds received in action 24 February 1991 in Southwest Asia. Given under my hand in the city of Washington this 15th day of March 1991, signed A.M. Gray, General, United States Marine Corps, Commandant of the Marine Corps. I'm certain I can't do it with the same distinguished flair, but congratulations on behalf of the Commandant. Sergeant Major, Dan? I don't know that I have the visual dexterity here. I think it's significant that not only are the Marines present here today that are significant in this, but really as we pin on a Purple Heart, which is that award that none of us want to get as Marines, the Navy Marine Corps team is represented here, not just by the attending physicians that have taken care of Lance Corporal Musicant so adeptly from the time that he was medevac right back here until we got to Balboa, but actually the 2 corpsmen that were on the scene really to save his life. As we do business, we've got to have the corpsmen at the ready, both in the platoon and in the BAS. And Doc Martin and Doc Parcells were specific requests by Lance Corporal Musicant to be present. And I guess it's significant they're present here today because their presence, Doc Martin saving his life, physically medevacing him under fire, and then Parcell doing the thing that really saved his life and staunched the flow of blood. Certainly something that is significant also, but not of the same degree. That's which brought us forward in the combat, and that which you are recognized for later. Subsequently here at Lance Corporal Musicant, which is the National Defense Service Medal. Congratulations there, Lance Corporal.
Thanks, sir.
All right. All right. Yeah. People were asking for comments.
Well, I don't really have much to say other than the fact that, considering the fact that the battalion came back with no casualties, there's been a lot of pain involved, but I do it every bit of it over again for the same results. If I had to go through this all again for everybody to come home alive, I would have done it. I wish I could have been there for the whole thing, but that's just the way it had to be.
Tell us your prognosis. You gonna get the full recovery?
Doctors have told me I'll recover 100%. It's going to take a while. I'm going to have very ugly legs for a while, but
You always do.
I'm not going to be doing much dancing in the near future. But about 18 months from now, I'll be fully recovered, back doing whatever I have to do. I'll be staying in the Marine Corps, at least for now.
What was the first thing you wanted to do coming back to the States?
It's
You can tell us about that.
it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I really haven't gotten to yet. I wanted to
Drink a beer. Drink a beer. Drink a beer.
there were a lot of things I wanted to do. I haven't been able to do a lot of them yet, but just being back here is good enough, honestly. Everything else will come in time. And just seeing everybody come back is good enough for me. Seeing the job get done, everybody come back without any widows and orphans.
Was there a point where you weren't sure that you would make it?
There were some tense moments. It was kind of hard to fathom. I went into shock fairly quickly, and there were some coherent thoughts along the way where I thought to myself, well, at first I thought that my leg was gone, and then I could feel myself move my toes, so I knew it was there. And then I thought to myself, well, you know, I might bleed to death or I might die. I don't know exactly what's going on. But my biggest concerns weren't really for myself. I was more afraid of putting my mother through this sort of thing. And I mean, quite honestly, I mean, you know, if I die, I die. I wouldn't have known it after the fact. Wouldn't have made a difference, but everybody else would have been left. You know, and that's really what was more on my mind. From the moment I got hit, I was like, I don't want my parents to know right away until I can tell them I'm okay. And I wasn't really thinking that much about death, as far as from my standpoint as from everybody else's.
Do you feel like a hero?
All I did was jump off a vehicle and get shot. I didn't even get to do my specific job. That's not a hero, that's just a Marine doing his job. Everybody doing their job is what got the job done. A hero is Doc Martin carrying me out of hostile fire. You know, or Doc Parcells treating guys in the middle of a mortar barrage, or everybody else doing what they had to do under fire, not some guy laying there bleeding to death under fire. That's just a Marine doing his job.
This is your dad up here, a proud father, we all know. Sir, could you give us some comments? He was worried about you and your wife and how you'd react to this.
Well, when they showed up at 2 o'clock in the morning, the casualty assistance officer was in his dress blues and he had his corporal with him. And I opened up the door and I had a big flag on the front door and I couldn't see who was there. And I opened it up and he yelled to me the 5 most beautiful words I've heard ever. And he said, "Sir, your son is alive," because he knew that I wasn't expecting him to be there to sell me tickets to the Marine Corps ball. And it was tough. We got through it. We were really fiercely proud of him. There's the guy.
Anyone?
Okay, these are the two heroes, the two you consider heroes.
Yes, ma'am.
No,
No, go ahead. I mean,
Maybe you could both explain what your roles were in helping save a life here.
well, like he said, basically, we were just doing our job. You know, I'd have done it for anyone, really. You know, was I scared? Yes. You know, but it just, it really, you know, it broke me down when he was screaming my name. You know, I just, you know, I hear that now. You know, and I turned around, I hadn't seen nobody. He was done pulling me. You know, I just grabbed the guy, and I didn't realize I lifted him up like this and started running. I just thought I, you know, had him like this. And I just brought him back, and he kept on screaming, my leg, my leg, my leg. And I said, just let me get out of this, you know, because we've been bombed. I said, let me just get out of here, and we'll set you down. So I started screaming for Parcells here, and I told him to give me a hand, and, you know, and he kept screaming my leg. So we just took some scissors and pretty much cut it down, and it was a pretty ugly wound, and he pretty much took over.
The story from there.
Sure. I just took a large battle dressing and put it on there, and we were having a lot of problems because we couldn't get the supplies that we really wanted to. What we had to depend on really was our Unit 1s, and those are pretty poorly stocked. But we did the best we could, and I think really a lot of the credit should go to Martine, because it takes a lot of guts to go out there and go under fire and pick a man up. And I'm just really glad to see that Musicant's with us today.
All right, Bob.
Love you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't do it again, right?
I think they took care of that the first time around.
Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.